Okay, I'm going to go ahead and run this through Gemini. This message I had written. The great thing about this is that even though I do voice to text conversion, Gemini can, because it draws a context from the information, it's going to see through some of the typos that will appear in my text. And so you can even ask it to reformulate exactly what I said based upon what it thinks that I said. And I could also say, can you format this text in such a way that it would be easier for a text to speech conversion? And I seem to recall you have a text to voice converter built in. So maybe if that's the case, you can go ahead and say what's in the summary. So it's just a sec. I'll tell it. Can you go ahead and tell me what that says, or should I have to select that? I think I have to select that from the paragraph, right? Okay, that's what it said. So, okay, so me.
Okay, here's a formatted version of the text for easier text-to-speech conversion, along with a summary. Formatted text. Don't listen to this person. They aren't backing up their claims. I'd go to an institution like the Mayo Clinic where you can get a broad diagnosis from a collection of doctors. Doctors in America who get reimbursement from insurance companies compensate for inadequate payments by seeing patients in an assembly line fashion, sticking them into rooms and giving each as much interest as their insurance can compensate them for. Stress suppresses cognition. If you have a doctor who isn't paid as their practice requires, they may choose to diagnose patients as having ADHD because the drugs tend to make people happy and more productive. This way, they can recoup their costs on the hypochondriacs or obvious non-cases, then apply more focus to patients certain they were misdiagnosed. If this is the case, it will take you longer to get a precise diagnosis. This doctor is British, note, he is on YouTube, and he is young. And he is generalizing all American doctors. He is bringing holistic sources. Clue. Which doctor? Go to a Mayo Clinic if you want to save time. Consider doctors on merit, who frequently have maintained licenses, practices, and solid education and experience. If you are on an MMO, most insurance will not recognize a majority of psychiatrists and psychologists. I myself have to pay between $90 and $150 for my treatment. I do have depression. It runs in my family. I eat all sorts of foods. I can attest to the effect blood sugar has, but if you wake in the morning and you cannot face the day, and it's unconditional of your situation or what you eat, try eating salad in place of cereal. And if you are still depressed, it is not the food. It's depression. I take pyroxetine and lamotrigine every day. If I miss it for long, I feel like shit. My brother takes ADHD drugs. Another has bipolar. My mother has depression, obviously, but she will not treat it. I think it has more to do with thinking it came from her side. It's easy in America to jump to conclusions because our healthcare informatics systems are disjoint. We couldn't track a pandemic in real time if our country depended on it. We also can't detect false diagnoses-driven drug abuse because of the private informatics industry. The only way to have a cradle-to-grave record is to hand-deliver paper records. I know this because I was involved with an effort of the government to improve patient healthcare tracking by the creation of a Corba-based peer-to-peer solution with license checking, security, and logging. You know what would fix this? Socialization. Private industry hates socialization because it leads to interface standardization. And who else would know about healthcare socialization and informatics standardization than the government? Private industry is only good for unique cases and consumer-driven research. Private industry is not good for establishing industry-wide standards and policies. I personally will not vote due to tweedism and the revolving door. The rich nominate those we vote for, and officials leave office with special relationships and understanding to push through laws that favor private industry. If you are wondering why Trump and Elon Musk are tearing up the government, it's due to the nature of corruption already in the government and the bastardization of the processes by private industry, the frustration of having any beneficial effect. It's really a shit show to prove to the people some fearsome ass-kicking is going on. Even if it's crazy and misguided, it's necessary because those in power are complacent and need to be made aware. It's like some heart surgery I heard about where, to heal the heart, it was shot with several microscopic holes to call the body to develop fresh tissue. I'm actually starting to believe what you are saying because I've got sleep apnea. I've got edema, or swelling in the legs, all attributes of being diabetic. I'm a type 2 at 54. I don't get exercise. I drink coffee, so you are really kind of speaking correctly, and I'm experiencing this sort of thing. The sleep apnea, especially, is going to make you tired, but the thing to say here is that this is about being tired, not depressed. Depression is a result of brain chemistry. It's not something that can be fixed with diet. My brother has been on all sorts of diets. He's got bipolar and he's had electric shock therapy. He's going through all sorts of stuff, and he's even been through alcohol abuse, thinking that alcohol would probably fix the situation. It's not easy. I think that it might be associated with job situation, specifically stress, and the stresses that employers put on their employees, the situations that people are in order to survive. They are being terrified by their employers into performing. There is no loyalty between employers and their employees, and because of that, it's up to the employees to come up with the fallback insurance, the life insurance and things of that nature that will deal with things the companies cannot provide. Another thing to point out is that incorporation requires the employer to have a fiduciary responsibility to its creditors, the company, and as a result of that, they cannot do anything that benefits the consumers or the employees because it will be seen by the creditors as a loss of revenue. So, really, across the board, the problem with America is money. It's how it's made its way into the morality of people and how it has affected the way people value each other, and the only remedy for such a thing is for us to fail in a very big way, for everyone to end up poor and jobless because at the bottom, people start to develop healthy relationships because they go through shit together. So my idea is to pretty much give up on everything, to put faith in God because God is on our side, because this is not something any single individual can fix. This is not something a group of individuals can fix. We lack the absolute perception to deal with all the faults at once. The only solution here is to give up. It doesn't sound like a good solution, but it is a way of addressing the need by pointing out to people that nothing is going to work. The only thing that can work here is by unstressing and relinquishing control of our lives and letting things fall apart. You could see it in the way that the world is. The fires, the earthquakes. All these things are really just a clue to us that we can't keep what we're holding on to. We become complacent, and some of us can't be complacent or can't be comfortable. Some of us don't even have security. Homeless people cannot get jobs because they don't have residence, as required by an employer. Without residence, they don't have security. They can't keep what they have because the policeman will take their tent and all their stuff, pack it into a bin, send it downtown, and that's that. They have to start all over again. They keep resetting over and over again, never to ever actually use their skills and benefiting the world because the way that we solve our world's problems is centric around survival and the flow of money. So the only solution is, if you can possibly do it, to agree to stop voting altogether because we're not going to have any effect as long as Tweed and the revolving door is in place. The rich nominate the people we vote for, and the officials come back being paid 8 times as much to be lobbyists, pushing through laws that don't favor the people, that favor corporations. The corporations are the authoritarian rule that we're fearing. Corporations, AI, All that stuff is coming together, and somebody's going to try to take over. The only solution to this is complete anarchy and the development of a new country from the dust and ruin of the previous, the Phoenix effect. The best thing to do in any case is to avoid stress and try to determine what it is that you need in order to be happy. We have limited perception to distress. We don't have very good cognition. We don't have a very good immune system. The reason why COVID formed in the first place was because of these wet markets where stressed handlers were handling stressed animals that were outside of their habitat. It was really nature saying to us, you can't treat animals this way, and the penalty for that is a virus that will make you realize that you must relax, you must relinquish control. You must respect people and animals and the environment because this is what permits you to remain alive. If you fail to do so, then you can only look forward to a future of turmoil and discomfort, as distress will make you vulnerable to all the dangers you fear. See, people who haven't the time to feed themselves, to unwind with television or record or music or exercise with their family, to look after their family, to go to church, to develop a perspective that's healthy are going to hit a brick wall. And when you become overstressed, you lose your cognitive ability, going to make bad decisions all over the place, not only you but everyone else. Why this occurs is natural. Nobody should ever sustain a level of stress for their entire lives. Stress suppresses cognition, immunity, tissue regrowth, and reproduction. No baby should be born into a world of stress, so reproduction goes offline. Nobody sustaining an injury should be stressed to get back to work. That stress will cause them to change positions to get a better working work situation. See, the stress is actually going to help you survive or save you from an unsuitable living situation. Worse comes to.
Well, I guess it looked like he didn't quite get it all in there. See if that's what was in my text. Let's see if I can find find a note. Worse comes to worse, it'll kill you. Okay. There we go. So then I can get it to say the rest of it. Looks like it stopped at a point and it didn't have enough. These things have a limited context area for text. If I was using, what is it called? It's not Clo, it's something like that. It's one of the AIs that's really good for processing lots of text. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and ask him to do this one. Summarize this. As you did the previous. He's not doing it. Let me open up a. New chat. Can you summarize this text without losing detail. Paste. Something went wrong. I'm going to change the is there a connection? Come on. See? Okay. Reduce. Could you summarize the following text I'm about to give you? I know it's incomplete, but that was because I had given it to another session of yours and you didn't have enough space for the complete text. I'm sure one of the newer versions of Gemini could handle it, but I don't want to. I'm sitting here recording a podcast, and so I want something within a short amount of time here. I'm going to have you read it out as well. I'll do that separately. Well, he really summarized it. I guess that's enough. Okay. Oh, he doesn't have any way of saying it. Let me get a different one. Can you summarize without losing detail the following text I'm about to give you? Oh, looks like he... Wait 1 second, that's really short than what I had. Was that really what was left? I had more than that. Find worse. There it is. It'll kill you. Okay, copy. Can you give me a rewording of this in such a way that it can be easily said? Not a complete summary, but something that sounds more natural, like something a high schooler could understand. Well, it just summarized it. I'll give it what the original one said.
The speaker discusses stress, health, societal problems, and their personal life. They argue that stress is a major health risk, comparable to AIDS in its impact on the immune system. They criticize the medical system, corporations, and the pursuit of profit over people. They describe their own life as an example of universal basic income, supported by a pension due to a disability, aphasia. They explain their choice to teach Blender 3D animation software, prioritizing stability for artists over commercial software's uncertainties. They criticize capitalism and the lack of genuine concern for others, predicting societal failure. The speaker then shifts to discuss war, religion, and science, arguing that miscommunication and lack of education, not religion itself, are the root causes of conflict. They differentiate between science's ability to engineer solutions and its inability to establish morality. The speaker touches upon racism, suggesting that the officer who killed George Floyd was a psychopath, not a racist, and that law enforcement may prefer psychopaths. They critique the oversimplification of problems by some scientists and argue for diverse problem-solving approaches. Finally, they discuss AI's potential, human imperfection, and the nature of choice, suggesting that humans were created to explore all possibilities, both good and bad. They describe how AI uses tokens to recognize patterns, similar to how humans conceptualize information.
Yeah, it pretty much got it. So I'll just go ahead and end it there.